What is up, guys? Rikakis here, going over the top 5 weapons you should upgrade when the House of Wolves DLC drops for Destiny. Now in this DLC there is a new type of reward. It's kind of these strange orbs that are rewarded for doing the Prison of Elders. Now that is kind of like in replacement of the raid, and also they can actually drop in Nightfalls, so players who have not purchased the DLC can still get these orbs, and you take these orbs and you apply them to your weapons, and then that will upgrade them to the new 365 attack rating. Now some things you gotta remember are that last time upgrading from 300 to 331, that was about a 13.5, I believe, damage increase. Again, from a maxed out 300 attack weapon, if it was upgraded to 331, that'd be about 13.5% more damage. So this time, you're basically doubling that number, so the biggest asset is going to be for the 300 attack weapons. They're going to get about a 26% damage boost, so keep that in mind, whereas the Dark Below weapons, they will get about a 13.5, again, percent increase. So without further ado, let's go over the top 5 weapons that I personally will be upgrading as soon as the DLC comes out, if I'm lucky enough to get these orbs. Number 5, we have the Vision of Confluence. This gun was unbelievable. It was like an all-star in its day. The insane accuracy provided by the Zen movement perk, and it also had a stability increase, meant that you could go full auto. And again, another perk of this gun is that it has the full auto attachment, that this scout rifle can go full auto from very much across the entire map and consistently get headshots. I remember running the Vision of Confluence one of the first times I ever played the Crota's End raid, and it performed admirably. The only reason I replaced it, and I think the only reason other people replaced it, is because it simply wasn't the greatest in the very beginning portion of the game, and there's also just other portions in the game because you're facing the Hive, and there's so many scenarios where they kind of gang up at you, and you have to kill multiple thralls at a time, like there's 5 thralls bunched together. This gun necessarily is not the best at that, but at singleton enemies from pretty much any range, it is very, very powerful. That stability is, again, when I was like using this gun for this gameplay, I just forgot just how accurate this gun is. And when you're facing something completely unknown like the Prison of Elders, having something that you can put as much distance as possible between you and the enemy is extremely important. Remember, you know, when they're increasing the level cap again. So when you were 32, stuff like almost killed you just by looking at you. I can't imagine what it's going to be like with another level increase. So again, putting that distance between you and the enemy and being as safe as possible while still dealing massive damage is why I think this gun is definitely worth an upgrade. Alright, coming in at number 4, we have the Icebreaker. Now, the Icebreaker has always been one of the best sniper rifles, arguably the best sniper rifle in the entire game. This thing absolutely melts bosses. It is so useful. It is so useful in so many different scenarios, and it is so easy to rely on because of the regeneration of its ammunition. Now, it has been somewhat overshadowed by the Black Hammer, but I still believe having a sniper rifle that can constantly regenerate its ammo is so unbelievably useful. And one of the most important things is, you guys kind of, if you're a high level, certainly like me, I'm 32, I kind of like forget, but if I think back to back in the day when I was not max level, certain Nightfalls with certain burns, especially if they matched the damage output of the boss, if you went out of your little like hiding glitch spot, that was a death sentence. Like, you would just be instantly killed. I remember back in the day, versing the Nexus Nightfall, if that burn was matched the Nexus boss, oh my goodness. Again, if you came out of your little cubby hole, it was basically a death sentence. So there really wasn't, let's go and get ammo. You either had Synthesis or you had the Icebreaker. And that's why it was just so useful. It was like, I can hide, I can, be behind cover, I don't need to expose myself, get myself killed to get ammo, and I can have a powerful weapon that will always have ammunition. It may take a little longer to kill the enemy than just pounding him and using synthesis, but it's just more reliable. And that's why I think the Icebreaker, if you're going into the absolute unknown with the Prison of Elders, I want something that is as powerful as the Icebreaker, and again, that ammo regeneration is just unbelievable. Now, coming in at number 3, it is a tie between the Black Hammer and the Hunger of Crota. Now, unfortunately, you won't be seeing any gameplay with the Hunger of Crota because I haven't been fortunate enough to get it. I have 8 Black Hammers, though. 8. So, actually, lucky enough, if I only get one more Black Hammer, I can duct tape my Black Hammers together and create my own rocket launcher that shoots Black Hammers at the enemies. Well, that's how many Black Hammers I have. What I'm saying is fuck the loot system. Anyways, going over this, the Black Hammer and the Hunger of Crota. Again, I don't have the Hunger of Crota, but I know all about it. It's basically, it's Gala Horn Jr. That's what people call it, and anything called that deserves a spot on this list. The thing about the Black Hammer and the Hunger of Crota is that they both respectively are basically what people turn to if they're using exotics in other slots. If you're using a primary or a heavy exotic, which is often the case, you'll pretty much always run the Black Hammer. It is such an amazing go-to sniper rifle. The fact that it can basically infinitely regenerate ammo is unreal. The fact that also each shot is so powerful that it stuns enemies, which means that you can shoot and stun, like you'll be seeing on screen what I'm doing to the raid boss at the, or sorry, not the raid boss, but the end boss of the summoning pits, just constantly shooting at him. Fogoth, suck a dick, just get downed over and over again. There's no chance. Like, that is what makes a Black Hammer just so unbelievable, and just a talented player can, just shooting normal enemies, stringing together 3 headshots, getting an extra 3 ammunition thrown into the magazine for free is a huge bonus. Now again, if you're using a primary or a secondary exotic, the legendary that you're going to throw on in the heavy slot is often the Hunger of Crota. It does everything well. It's tracks, which is huge actually, just being able to track the enemy if he moves slightly, like sidesteps, you can still get him, and the cluster bomb after, just to do even more damage. It's a very, very useful and powerful heavy weapon, and again, it's kind of the go-to heavy weapon when you have an exotic in an other slot and you just need a legendary for your heavy slot. And again, the exact same thing is for the Black Hammer, and because of those reasons, these two are tied at number 3. Now coming in at number 2, we have the Fatebringer. Arguably the best hand cannon in the entire game, the Fatebringer's explosive rounds and Firefly perk push it over the edge when it comes to dealing with multiple enemies. This gun is so good, they often still run it. I still run this gun in Crota's End, even though it's only 300 attack. It is so good at dealing with multiple enemies at once. Exploding them, damaging all these enemies around it, and since these explosions, they stun the enemies too. So if you're not killing a bunch of enemies with one shot, you are stunning them and just lining up more and more headshots. Again, this gun is so good at dealing with groups of multiple enemies. And not only that, if you're just, dealing with one enemy, shooting headshots at him, it's still going to be a very, very powerful gun when you're doing that. This gun is just all around unbelievable. And although I have said in the past, and I still think I actually prefer the Hawkmoon barely over this gun, I'm never going to use the Hawkmoon over this gun. And the reason being is because the Hawkmoon is exotic. I don't want to have to tie up my exotic slot. That's huge. I'd rather give my, special or heavy weapon exotic slot to another gun and be able to use something that is just so powerful in my primary slot. And so that's why the Fatebringer is number 2 in the guns that I am going to upgrade right away as soon as the House of Wolves comes out. Now, coming in at number 1, the gun I will upgrade immediately. The first orb I get is going to the Gala Horn. I'm sorry, if you expected anything but, I think you're a little mistaken about the state of the game. The Gala Horn is still so unbelievably good. There's basically 2 types of players in Destiny. There are those that have the Gala Horn, and there are those that are making comments right now that you don't need the Gala Horn to take down Crota. The difference is, I can take down Crota by myself with the Gala Horn. The team hops on my back, I take up my 331 Gala Horn, and I can down him by myself. And the fact that that's how powerful this gun is that the rest of your team can make mistakes. There's so much more room for error because 1 or 2 people have Gala Horns that, again, that's why this gun is just so useful. There's a reason everyone out there is either looking for the Gala Horn or using the Gala Horn, and that's because it's just so powerful. Now that being said, yes, you can still function without the Gala Horn, but again, since it's so good, you can never go wrong with the Gala Horn. Every time I see someone with the Gala Horn, I'm like, okay, good, that's an asset to the team. Now, you have to be pretty talented to get by doing a lot of the stuff without the Gala Horn. But again, I mean, that's why the Hunger of Crota is in at number 3. It's basically if you aren't using the Gala Horn, if you need something else, if you're using an Icebreaker, for example, that's what you use. But, you know, the Gala Horn is the de facto go-to, you know, everyone thinks of it as one of, if not the best guns in the game, and so clearly it deserves the number 1 spot. And also, you don't know heaven until you play the Titan with Rune Wings, and you see that purple scatter in the ground, and you have a Gala Horn, and you just know this is gonna be easy. That's it for the video. If you guys think I missed a weapon in my top 5, leave it in the comments section below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe for more Destiny content, and as always, have a good day.